You only have one source. Now you have multiplicity of resources, of mechanisms that God can use to address needs, but there must be and can only be one source. The moment a resource is elevated to become a competing source, you have multiple gods. Samuel speaks in verse 3. And when Samuel speaks, Samuel said, if you return to the Lord had returned to them because the ark is in the house. But there needed to be another kind of return. It was not just God returning to them, but them returning to God. A lot of people are waiting on God when actually God is waiting on them. And to return to the Lord meant that you had to get rid of something. He said, remove the foreign gods and the Asherah from among you and direct your hearts to the Lord and serve him alone. That's a no compete clause. Get rid of your idols. So what they had done was they had brought the ark in without getting rid of their competing deities. They had brought the ark in, but they didn't want to get rid of their other gods. Now, if the other gods were that good, you wouldn't have needed to go find the ark. But the other gods, the idols, gave them a level of comfort and security. They gave them a fallback plan. Now, we've defined it numbers of times, but let me define it again. The biblical definition of an idol. An idol is any noun, person, place, thing, or thought. Any noun, person, place, thing, or thought that you look to as your source to meet your needs. Let me say that again. An idol is any noun, person, place, thing, or thought that you look to as your source to meet your needs. Idols were not just things, they were things designed to do something. People didn't worship idols just to worship idols, they wanted the idols to do something for them. Baal and his girlfriend, Asherah, were the fertility gods. They were the gods that was going to make the land productive. They were the gods that were going to make the rain come. They were going to God to produce the offsprings. They were going to the cattle would replicate so that there would be plenty of food and money to from the sale. In other words, with Baal and Asherah, our economic situation is going to be better. In other words, they were looking to the God to do something. It was a source. So when we talk about idolatry, don't just think of third world countries where they're worshiping stones and rocks and bushes and trees. It is any noun, person, place, thing, or thought that you look to as your source to meet your need. One of the things we've tried to express here to our family is that you only have one source. Now, you have multiplicity of resources, of mechanisms that God can use to address needs, but there must be and can only be one source. The moment a resource is elevated to become a competing source, you have multiple gods. If your identity is God and equally your race has become your idol. If it's God and equally your job has become a competing idol. Or your bank account, or your politics, or it could be anything that has become the source of your hope. Because right now in here today, we got Democrat idols and Republican idols, because you think who's in the White House is going to fix the nation. And all God is saying is a bunch of idols. See, we have American idols. We get designer idols, sophisticated idols. But it's any noun, person, place, thing, or thought that you look to as your source. And what you do is you have created a man-made representation of Almighty God. The Bible declares, for example, in Romans chapter 1, these daunting words that you need to review and to become acquainted with. He says in verse 18, the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because that which is known about God is evident within them, for God has made it evident to them. Since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. Now look at verse 21. And even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their speculations, and their foolishness hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the incorruptible God for an image in the form of corruptible man, creating images that are false images, because their foolish hearts were darkened, even with their BAs and their MAs and their PhDs. Their foolish hearts were darkened. So he says, if you want God, even though you've got the symbol here, there must be a return. He has returned to you. Now the question is, have we returned to him? Idolatry is worshiping the wrong God or worshiping the right God in the wrong way. Let me tell you why we like idols. Why idols make us a little bit more comfortable. Idols make us a little calmer. Because there's no accountability. I don't have to answer to an image. I don't have to really be bossed around by an idol, because I have an element of control, because I made the idol. See, I decided that you're going to be an idol. And if I made you my idol, then I have say-so about how I'm going to allow you to idol me. I'm going to decide that part of God I don't want. That part of God I don't like. I like this part of God, I don't like that part of God, but I'm going to keep you around so that the part I like is available to me. We have a convenient God. That's why it says it's idols created by man. Because then you can control it. But when Moses asked God, who should I say sent me? Yeah, I'm going to Pharaoh. You want me to go to Pharaoh? They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to say, who died and made you boss? Who sent you? He said, God told him, you tell him I am that I am sent you. Don't tell him I am what you want me to be. You tell him that I am, self-existent, self-sufficient, self-contained. I am the independent deity, and I call the shots up in here, up in here. We live in a day when people want God for invocations and benedictions, as long as he had no say-so in the stuff in between. Many of you may have heard about the situation they came to church. There was a senator from Florida. I met him a couple of months ago. He and his wife came, and he walked into the Senate chamber, and he was contesting the transgender bill or the gay marriage bill, one of them. And he's standing in the chamber, and somebody sent it to me, and he says, I would like to read to the chamber from the Tony Evans Bible commentary. For real, for real. He says, I want to read. And he starts reading my words from my Bible commentary about what God says about male and female. And, you know, he start reading that. He was halted by the head of the meeting. I won't say who he was, but he was halted by the head of the meeting who said, God has no place in this chamber. We live in a world where men and women want God for the invocation and God for the benediction, but don't mess with anything between. God, I will give you a couple of hours on Sunday, but on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah, okay, I'll give you Sunday and I'll say grace, okay? Leave me alone. I don't want you to be telling me what to do, how to live my life, how to run my family, how to be a man, how to be a woman, how to be a parent, how to be a child, how to be a worker, how to handle my finances. I don't want you for all that. I got too much education. Have you seen the car I drive, God? Seen the crib I live in? I'm good. Until you're not. I'm good until you're not. He says, you must return to the Lord your God. And you must remove the idols. You must kick them to the curb. You've got me in the place, but I don't have you in the place. You must return to me. I must be your source for life, for meaning, for purpose,